caretaker here, welcoming you back to Vacation Bible School. We're here at IncrediWorld. Today is day 4. Today we're going to be learning about God's amazing design. We can see it all around us, especially in the creatures that He's made. Here's today's Incrediverse. I got some of my friends to help us out.
John 1:11, verse 1 and 2. I will give thanks to the Lord my whole heart. Great are the works of the Lord.
Here's today's phrase. I got some of our friends to help with this one too.
It couldn't just happen. God made it that way. That's right.
Now, come on in to IncrediWorld.
Welcome back, Park Riders. I am so excited to see you today. I've got a question for you. When you've been to like a zoo or an amusement park, have you ever been to an animal show? Oh, I love animal shows. I've seen all kinds of shows. I've seen some reptile shows. I've seen a dolphin show. Well, today we've got a special exhibit for you, and I'm going to let you guess what it's about. I'm going to give you a hint. These animals can fly. What do you think it is? Did you say birds? That's right. We're going to have a special day where we learn about how God designed all the amazing birds. Did you know that the Bible mentions several different types of birds by name? Well, we're going to be checking them out and seeing how God designed different parts of the bird in a special way. And we're going to do that through 3 stations today. Well, we got to get ready for our first station because Miss Barb's going to be coming along to teach us about our amazing designer God and these amazing birds that He created. But the first thing you need to do is you need to get a nest ready. So maybe you want to gather some pillows or cushions or even stuffed animals as you have them and make yourself a little nest. Maybe you can grab a blanket or something like that and put it down in the middle and get yourself all cozy in your nest because here comes Miss Barb with our first station.
Okay, is everybody ready for station 1? I hope you're in your nest. Here we go talking a little bit about birds because we know God created the birds and every other animal. Animals didn't just happen, as we've talked about this week. They're amazing. We know they didn't just happen by evolution. Remember that big word? When they just go from one thing and they become another thing, maybe dinosaurs, and they end up becoming birds. No, God created them. Okay, here comes our next one. Well, you'll see on this poster, Adam is naming that bird. That's one of the jobs God gave him to do. Because at the beginning of time, before anything bad had happened, everything was good and work was such a pleasure. And Adam had the job of naming the animals. Don't you think that'd be a fun job to name all the animals? You might want to pause the video for a minute and just think of a few animals, like maybe a hippo or a lion. If they were named something else, what would you name them? So remember, Adam was smart and he had pleasant jobs, one of which was naming the animals. Now we talked about this, how animals were given for food to man. And that is recorded in Genesis 9, 1 through 3, and also in Numbers. And so we know that after the big flood of Noah's days, we could have eaten birds or other animals as well. And I know I certainly like to. Have you ever eaten chicken? Like a chicken, fried chicken or a chicken sandwich? I have. I love it. Well, we could have done that anytime after the flood. So God gave us animals that we can eat if we want to. The Bible reminds us that animals belong to God. In fact, we all belong to God. Remember, we said we aren't animals. We are special, made in God's image. But we too belong to Creator God. And because He is our Creator, He is our Maker, He is the one that sets the rules. And we are just to obey them. And He knows what's best for us. So when we obey, it is always a good thing. And our last poster reminds us that God takes care of His creation. I'm so glad God didn't just make everything and just go away. No, he takes care every day of his creation, of every animal and of us. That makes me feel so special to know the Creator God is caring for me every day. I'm never out of his mind. He loves me.
Are you ready to move on to station number 2? This station is called Unique Beaks. Can you say that 3 times fast? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Unique beaks, unique beaks, unique beaks. Well, I didn't do so good. Maybe you did better than me, but this station is going to be so much fun. Miss Barb's going to be coming along, and for each beak type that we're going to talk about, she's going to show you some different supplies that you can gather from around your house, and then you can test these out yourself. If you don't have the supplies or you don't have all the supplies, don't worry about it. You can just watch along and have fun doing it that way as well. So here we go with our unique beaks.
Okay, now we're on to station 2, and this is about birds' beaks. Now, this is just one great way to show you birds couldn't have just happened, just like any animal couldn't have just happened. Their beaks are all so special. God made them just for each different bird. So we're going to do some little experiments to check out which beak works best with which bird. So let's get our stuff for our first experiment. The first bird we're going to talk about we call the stabbers, something like a stork. God made their beaks extra special to get their food. So if you want to do this with us, you're going to need a few things like an envelope or a plastic baggie, a straw, and then maybe some kind of skewer. It could even be a toothpick, okay? Be careful with those. And then you'll need just a little bit of something like a gummy fruit or a gummy worm or something like that, or Swedish fish or something. All right, now you're going to try each of these different things, and you're going to see which one picks up the food easiest. How did God make it? Now, you go ahead, if you have the stuff, and do this yourself. You'll just need to pause the video for a minute, and if you don't, just wait, and you can come back and do it with me. All right, let's try first this, the envelope or this. Now, how easy is it to pick up? We can get it, but they kind of slide back off, right? How easy is it to get it with the straw? Not so easy. How about the toothpick or the skewer? Ha! I think that's the easiest one, and that is why they're called stabbers, because God made them so they can just get a fish, and they can just stab it, and then they can swallow it whole. That couldn't just happen. God made them that way. So the next bird we're talking about are called the scoopers, and it would be something like a pelican. Now here are some of the supplies you could get. You can kind of grab something else if you don't have exactly these things, but if you have a pair of tweezers, you need a bowl with some water, you need some kind of a strainer. I happen to have a strainer spoon, but you might actually use a little strainer. If you have something like play fish, or you could use even packing peanuts or just some little thing that floats. And you need a couple straws, okay? All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the fish in the bowl so they float, or whatever you have, something that floats, all right? And we're gonna try these different things and see which one of these is the easiest to get the fish out with. So if you have the supplies, go ahead and pause this now, and if not, you can just wait and do it with me. All right, let's try the tweezers first. All right. I probably could get it if I kept trying. Not easy though. The next thing, the strainer. And the last, the straw, or even straws. If I took 2, well, it's not so easy. So did you say that you thought the easiest was the strainer? That's what a pelican's beak is like. Okay, that's what the scoopers use. They get their food, they go down and they get water and fish. The water drains out. That's how God designed their beak. And they're left with just the fish for their food. Isn't that cool? that God gave them a beak that's like a strainer, takes all the water out? This couldn't have just happened. God thinks of everything. So the next birds we're going to talk about are the pickers. That would be something like a blue jay. So some of the supplies you can get if you're going to do it with us, you need tweezers, you need maybe a nutcracker. I didn't have a nutcracker, so I just grabbed a funnel and a small strainer. Now you also need some dirt in a cup, or it could also be, if you really want to be fun about it, you can go crush up some Oreos. Ooh, that'd be fun to be your dirt. And then you need something like gummies or something that you can put into the dirt. Okay, so that's supposed to be like worms and little bugs and stuff. That would just be fun that you're just pretending. Okay, so we're going to see which one of these things is going to be like the blue jay or the picker's beak. Go ahead and try it now, and if you don't have the stuff, just wait a minute and you can do it with me. All right, I wonder which one of these you would guess is the most like the picker's beak. Let's try the tweezers first and see if we can get, okay, that was pretty easy. All right, how about the funnel or the nutcracker? All right, well, even if I get it, I don't think it's going to come down through there. Nope, it's not coming through the hole. And how about definitely not? Nope, nothing. So did you say the tweezers? That's the most like the beak God made the pickers. And they like to pick around in the dirt, and they get little bugs and worms, and so they have these little beaks that are very much like tweezers, and they can get things very fine. That couldn't have just happened. God made them that way. Okay, the next bird beak we're going to talk about are for the birds we call the drinkers, something like maybe a hummingbird. So if you're going to do this with us, you'll need something like an envelope, a straw, and maybe a spring-form clothespin would work. Okay, or you could get a slotted spoon if you wanted to. Then you also need something tall and skinny that you can put some water in. We colored ours with a little bit of food coloring, but you don't have to do that. All right, so go get your supplies if you're going to do it with us. Just pause the video, and otherwise, wait a second, we'll do it together. Which one of these three tools do you think is most like a hummingbird's beak, an envelope, a straw, or a clothespin? Let's try and see how we can get the water out. Let's try this first. See, that isn't working very well at all. Forget that one. Okay, how about a straw? Would this work? And how about a clothespin? Can we get the nectar, the drink that they're trying to get? Doesn't work. You should have said the straw. This one is the way that they can get all these liquids out of deep inside of flowers. And that's what some birds do. They drink nectar from inside flowers, so they need a straw-like beak. That couldn't have just happened. God gave them that straw-like beak. The next bird we're talking about is a cracker, or something like a macaw. Now let's see if you can find these things, something like tongs, maybe a pancake turner or some other kind of utensil like that, and maybe a nutcracker or a pair of pliers. Also, as long as you're not allergic to them, you can find some kind of a seed that's got a nut on it. These are pistachios. Or you can use a sunflower kernel or a pumpkin seed, something like that. Okay, anything like that would work that they have to try to crack open, because that's what we're going to do. All right, so go get the stuff if you're doing it with me, and otherwise wait a minute and we'll do it together. All right, I wonder which one of these you think is going to do the best at cracking open the food. Let's try, first of all, I can pick it up pretty easily, but it's not as easy to crack it open with the tongs. Again, I can pick it up, but it's not that easy to crack it open. Even if I do, I have a feeling this one's going to work the best. Easy peasy, right? Woo! So even if you managed to do it with these other ones, somehow you would have had to work at it. Definitely the nutcracker or the pliers works the best. That couldn't have just happened. God made them that way. He gave them those strong beaks and also a tongue that's got a bone in it that work together to be able to crack nuts really easily. That's kind of fun. Woo! And our last bird we're going to talk about is called the catcher, something like a vermilion flycatcher. So if you're going to do it with us, get something like an envelope. And if you have anything like a little fishnet or something like that, like a scoop maybe, or a fork, okay? And if you happen to have something, anything that could be pretend bugs. We're using toasted oat cereal because maybe it'd be fun to eat a little of those afterwards. But whatever you want to use to simulate little bugs. Okay, so go ahead and get the stuff if you're doing it with us, and we'll do it together in a minute. All right, so let's pretend that these are bugs and they're flying along. Shh. And you're trying to catch that bug, okay? If this came along, does that really work? Not so well. What about if you're flying along? Okay. How about this one if you're flying along? I missed it, but let's try again. Did you say you think this one works best? I think so. And God designed these birds to have beaks that are kind of broad and flat. And they fly around with them open all the time so that the bugs just end up flying right into them. Okay, it's kind of funny. So that couldn't have just happened. God made them that way, and He made every bird with its own special beak. You might want to check these out in your backyard. It's pretty cool. God is an amazing creator.
Aren't those beaks unique? Well, they sure are because God thought of everything. We're ready to move on to station number 3, and it's called Fantastic Feet. Birds have fantastic beaks, and they have fantastic feet. For this one, you can get snuggled back inside your nest because Miss Barb's going to be showing you some different birds, and you're going to have to match up which feet go with that bird. So pay close attention and see if you can figure out which fantastic foot goes with that fantastic bird.
The first set of fantastic feet belong to the perchers. They're birds that are something like turtle doves or swallows. And they're even discussed in the Bible in Song of Solomon. Let's read this verse together. The flowers appear on the earth. The time of singing has come, and the voice of the turtle dove is heard in our land. Okay, so turtle doves have really cool feet. And we're going to show you a picture of a bird that's something like that, a percher bird. And you need to decide what kind of feet you think it would have. So the perchers are really cool because God designed them so that they would be able to stay on a tree branch without falling off, even if they're asleep. So they have 3 long toes in the front and 1 long toe. It looks the same as the ones in the front, but it's 1 long one in the back, and it can wrap around that tree branch, and they stay nice and sturdy. So let's see if you can figure out which set of feet belong to the perchers. Remember, you're looking for 3 long toes in the front and 1 toe in the back. Do you think it's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6? Did you say 3? It is number 3. Now remember, this couldn't have just happened. God designed them that way. And I'm so glad because they just fall off otherwise. This is so cool that God always thinks of everything. He gave them just the feet they needed. Now the second set of fantastic feet we're going to talk about are the climbers. These are the birds like a woodpecker that need feet that can climb up a tree trunk. Every bird doesn't do that, but this one does. So this bird, you're going to be looking for 2 toes in the front and 2 toes in the back, and those toes just grasp onto that tree trunk as they're moving their way up. All right, so let's see if you can figure out which one it is. Did you say number 5? If you did, that's right. Remember, it couldn't have just happened. God made them that way. The third set of fantastic feet belong to what we call the no-flyers, which is something like an ostrich. Now, if you want to read along with me, here's a great little verse from Job 39 about the ostrich. It says, "The wings of the ostrich wave proudly." One of those Bible birds. So the no-flyers are cool because they just need to be able to run fast or walk fast forward, sort of like our feet. Their toes are all in the front. They have 2 or 3 big toes, and they even have like a pad at the bottom of their foot, a soft pad, so they won't sink into the sand. All right, so let's see if you can figure out which one's theirs. You're looking for 2 or 3 big toes that are facing just forward. Did you say number 6? If you did, you're right. Remember, that couldn't have just happened. God knew what they needed, and he made them that way. The fourth one is called the paddler. This would be something like maybe a pelican that likes to swim. So God made these birds to be swimmers. It's kind of like if you're at the pool and you put on flippers, right, and they're webbed. Well, that's what their feet are like, and that helps them with their swimming. Always. That couldn't have just happened. God made them that way. So let's see if you can figure out which foot belongs to the paddlers. Did you say 4? If you did, you're right. Okay, the next foot is called the raker. This is something like a chicken, a hen, okay? So God gave them feet that are kind of like rakes. So you got to be thinking about what would a chicken foot look like. And here's a verse that has something to do with a hen in Matthew 23. Let's read it together. It says this: "How often would I have gathered your children together as a hen gathers her brood under her wings?" All right, so God made this with sort of, like I said, a chicken foot, looks sort of like a rake. Which one do you think looks most like a chicken foot? Did you say 1? If you did, you're right. Remember, it couldn't have just happened. God made them that way because that's the kind of foot they needed to rake through and find their grub. And our last fantastic feet that we're going to talk about are the birds of prey. They have awesome feet. Now, some birds have curved claws on their toes, like these birds of prey, and this allows them to catch their prey, which means their animal. For instance, if it's a fish, eagles, or ospreys, they have rough feet and they have long curved talons, which help them hold on to slippery fish. Other ones, like the harpy eagle, they have such huge and powerful claws, they could easily crush a monkey. Now, snake eagles' powerful toes, well, they're just right for catching and holding slithery snakes. God even gave them protective scales over their legs so that they wouldn't be able to get snake bites. All of these special designs didn't just happen. God made them that way. And he even talks about these animals in Job 9. Let's read this together. Job 9:26 says, "They go by like an eagle swooping on the prey." So they have just what they need to be able to catch their prey. And every other one of these birds has just the feet they need to do the job that God designed them. Aren't you in awe of God, our amazing creator?
Wow. Didn't God design all these birds in such an amazing way? And we only talked about a few parts of the birds. And we only talked about a few different types of birds. And as we know, birds are just a few of the many amazing animals God has created. Matthew 6:26 says, "Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they?" God took such amazing care when he created the birds and he created all the other animals as well. But he just didn't stop there. He continues to care for them to make sure that they are fed and that they have everything they need. But think about you and me. God cares for us too. He takes care of us because we are His most precious creation.
Wow, that was great. Now, check out the links in the description below. What's for snack? Are you gonna make me a snack? No birdseed, please. Unless it's popcorn. Popcorn's great. I'm hungry now. You check out the links below. I'm gonna go get some popcorn.